Qiyamah, which Allah explains about it from ayat 7 till ayat 15. Till ayat 15, that ayat 15, then there is a explanation for all these, which I explained. For example, how the quality, we define the quality. Allah is saying on ayat 7 that فَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ بِيَمِينِهِ. I'm going quickly because I don't want to repeat all we explained last week. That Allah is saying that on the day of Qiyamah, there are two groups of people. One group, Allah explains on ayat 7 to ayat 9, and another group from ayat 10 to ayat 14. Who are the first group? Those who they get their results from they are given their results to their right hand, بيمينه, to their right hand, and these are who the account is easy account, and they will go back to their people happily. And on ayat 10, Allah is saying, وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابَهُ وَرَاءَ ظَهْرِهِ, who they are given their results behind their back. It means that, and we explained that, what does this mean? If we go back to ayat 6, which Allah is saying, you are moving towards Allah, towards your Rabb. The first group, they are those group that in their moving, they would face Allah. It means that even in this world, when they live in this world during their life, they notice that whatever they do and what happens to them, and any decision they make and any reaction, and what the way of their life is towards a good quality of meeting. They want to set a good quality of meeting on the day of Qiyamah. So when they meet their Rabb, they meet him in the way that they get their results from into their right hand. But those people who on ayat 10, those they get their results from the back, those are that who they were facing this world. Even while they were moving backwards towards Allah. It means that they would never remember that they are moving. They would not notice this moving towards Allah. So whatever they would do is just was because of this world, and any decision and whatever would happen to them, they would not notice this world is a traveling for them, that towards Allah. So they would not face Allah, they would face this world. So when they meet Allah, they are not allowed even to turn back towards Allah, and they get their results from their back of their face. And we explained that this is the most difficult azab for them, because when they see what a great enjoyment they have lost because of the way of their life and the way of their moving, that's the most difficult part and azab for them, that they are not allowed even to face round to see Allah. And we explained that when we say see their Rabb, we don't mean physically, because of course Rabb is not something, even we don't meet Rabb. When we say we meet Allah or we meet Rabb, it doesn't mean that physically. It's just all by heart and something not physical. And we said it's Wajhullah. We meet Wajhullah, not the physical face of Allah. And then we explained that okay, when we say that, then in ayat 10, Allah they say that this group, they are not allowed to turn back. They get their result from the back, and they enter into burning fire. And in ayat 13 is saying, because innahu kana fi ahlihi masrura, because they were enjoying among their people in the world. And we explained that, is it bad we enjoy during this life? We said no, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't enjoy this life. No, it means that they would enjoy this life in the way that they would not even think about their moving and their meeting Allah, their destination. They would just think of this world and any happiness, not the happiness according to Allah rules. Because being happy and enjoying life according to Allah rules, there is no negative about it. It is positive. And ayat 15, Allah is saying, Bala inna rabbahu kana bihi basira. Surely Allah and their Rabb, does see them. Whatever they do, basira. Whatever they do, Allah is aware of it and He can see them. Okay, last week we discussed up to ayat 15, and we said that according to Tadabbur, we divides ayats into different groups, and we say Surah Inshiqaq, based on their meanings, based on its meanings, is part of two main group. And when we say group, it looks like a paragraph or a section in a book. We don't say paragraph, we say section in a book. For example, we say section 1 and section 2. And then from ayat 16 to the end of the surah is second group or second section. But in every group, we have different paragraphs. For example, in first group, which was from ayat 1 to 15, then it has got different subgroups or paragraphs, which was from ayat 1 to 5. And then ayat 6 was the key ayat of the surah, and then 7 to 50. Now we start second group, ayat 16. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. فلا أقسم بالشفق والليل وما وسق والقمر إذا اتسق لتركبن طبقا عن طبق فما لهم لا يؤمنون وإذا قرئ عليهم القرآن لا يسجدون بل الذين كفروا يكذبون والله أعلم بما يوعون فبشرهم بعذاب أليم إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم أجر غير ممنون. Ayat 16, when Allah is saying فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِالشَّفَقِ, means la makes the verb negative. Uqsemu means Allah is Allah swears. But when we say la uqsemu, it means that Allah doesn't swear. When it says if you look at different translations or even tafsirs, the tafsir of Surah Inshiqaq, you can see, or different ayats in Quran, when Allah is saying La uqsimu, I don't swear by, for example, sunset. I don't swear by Shafaq means afterglow of sunset. Shafaq, I explain it. Just I want to notice this point, that because it repeats in Quran in different surahs, that sometimes Allah makes swear at by something, and sometimes Allah is saying I don't swear by something. Then translators, some of the translators, they have translated it still positively. For example, when they say فَلَا أُقْسِمُ, still they say I swear by them after glow of sunset. But what is the most correct one? I told you that what Tadabbur has done, and I explained that they have done research through 20 years full time. So they have chosen the most correct meaning. So if you look, for example, if you have the application of iQuran, if you go through, because I've checked all of them to choose the best translation, if you go through different translation, even in Farsi translation is the same, and I'm sure Urdu is the same. You can see in some of the translation it says, I swear by the sunset redness, or I swear by the afterglow. But the most correct one is I don't, because it exactly says فَلَا أُقْسِمُ. Another thing I explained last week, and I repeated, that maybe the real meaning is that when Allah is saying that I don't swear, He wants to say I emphasize I swear. But what Tadabbur does, we explain that we are learning the first level of meaning of Quran in Tadabbur. And I said that we all know that Quran has got different deep meanings, up to even 70 levels of understanding, or even more. But what we do in Tadabbur is we learn the first level. So just we use the appearance of the word. We don't want to understand something which is not written. So we are learning the first level, and then after this anybody can go and study tafsirs and different levels of meaning. So when we say فَلَا أُقْسِمُ, we notice the same thing. I don't swear by the afterglow of sunset. Shafaq means, the redness at the end of the day. When it's sunset, you can see a redness in the sky. That calls shafaq, the redness at the west side of the sky when you see in the evenings. That calls shafaq. And in the minute when we want to translate, we can say afterglow of sunset or whatever. So when Allah is saying, I don't swear, it has got more. It in one from one point of view, it means that it is so clear, which I don't need to swear at it, because we can see every day, we can see it, but because it's something which gets repeated every day, because maybe we don't notice it, or we think it has become something normal for us. But it's not something normal. It's a great thing is happening every day, day and night. If you notice it, day and night. Why when khusuf and kusuf, what you call it, eclipse? Yes, Masuma, eclipse. When you call when the moon is covered or the sun is covered, eclipse. Yeah, we say eclipse.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yes,
so.
it's
Yeah.
eclipse. Yes.
Yeah. And why is namaz ayat is wajib? Because something has happened and changed the normal routine of creation. Because what is normal what we see it every day, we experience it every day, it has become so normal for us. Maybe we don't notice the power of Allah, power of our Rabb. But when something like that happens, it makes us notice it. Oh, there is something great in this creation. So that's why we recite. They have said that it's wajib. One of the reasons namaz ayat is wajib. So when Allah is saying, I don't swear, in one point means that it is so clear that I don't need to swear. And then another thing, which is another point, which is we need to notice, okay, why Allah is swearing at shafaq as afterglow sunset? What is the specific attribute or specific character of shafaq? Is that this redness, the day is losing its redness, or this shafaq is losing this redness step by step, to the point that it's not like that it is day, the light, too much light, and all of a sudden it's dark. No, if you notice, it's step by step. It becomes for example yellow first, and then becomes red, and then white, and then it's dark and night starts. This is step by step. Allah wants us to notice that. Again, go back to ayat 6, which is the key ayat. Oh, يا أيها الإنسان إنك كادح إلى ربك كدحا فملاقيه. We are moving step by step as well, which we don't notice it at all. And then there is connection between the ayat after it, which I'll explain. Let's finish these three ayats of ayat 16, 17, and 18. Allah is swearing at أقسم بالشفق. Then it says وَاللَّيْلِ وَمَا وَسَقَ. Allah is swear at the night. This when wav comes at the start of ayat, وَاللَّيْلِ وَمَا وَسَقَ. Okay, it means that wav in Arabic means and. So this is not a separate ayat. This is connected to previous ayat. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِالشَّفَقِ. And then فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِاللَّيْلِ. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِمَا وَسَقَ. And then next ayat, وَالْقَمَرِ إِذَا اتَّسَقَ. Again, wav, which in Arabic we say waw atf, means connecting to the next, to previous ayat. فَلَا أُقْسِمُ بِالْقَمَرِ. So these are all swearing. Allah is saying that I don't make qasam, I don't swear to shafaq, by shafaq, I don't swear by layl, I don't swear by wasaq, I don't swear by qamar. Qamar means moon, layl means night. And so it's Allah in ayat 16 to ayat 18 is making different qasams. And all, and again layl, wama wasaq. When it becomes complete, the layl is becomes the night, and which let me find the best meaning I extracted for it. Ayat 17. Yeah, when it becomes the darkness becomes full. And again, number 18, wal qamar, Allah is saying, I don't swear at moon, is a tasak. Tasak means when the moon is full. You have noticed that when it's the first night of moon, it's just very thin. We can't see it properly, and probably we need to see it by telescopes and all this, and that's what makes problem all the time for Ramazans and or Eid and all this. And Iza, when it becomes tasak, when it becomes full. And again on number 17, walayl wama wasak, night, and when it gathers everything in its darkness. Fala uqsimu bishafaq, again shafaq is step by step, when it, after glow of sunset, when it steps by steps comes to night. So all these three ayahs, if you notice, Allah is swearing, or when he says I don't swear, or he doesn't swear, means says that it is so clear that I don't need to swear. One point is that it's all related to night, and then it's all related to what do you say, what something happens step by step. It means shafaq is something happens step by step. Layl, something happens step by step. Wasaq, same thing. And wal qamar is a tasaq, again, when moon becomes full, it happens step by step from the first night to 14th night, and again from 14th night to 30th. All these step by steps, what Allah wants to tell us. Now we come to ayat 19. لَتَرْكَبُنَّ طَبَقًا عَنْ طَبَقٍ. It means that you certainly move, and your movement is tabaq and tabaq, from one stage to another stage. So all these, if you notice that all these ayat 16 to 18, which Allah swears at these shafaq, layl, wasaq, and qamar, when it becomes full, Allah wants to say that you are moving. By this moving, you are like all these creators, that you are moving stage by stage. Then another point which we need to notice is that what happens in, for example, shafaq and layl, step by step they lose their light. For example, when shafaq, step by step, it loses its light and it becomes the full darkness. Then what happens to qamar, to moon? When it becomes full moon, it step by step gains light and becomes lighter. So this goes back again to those different moving, our quality of our moving, which defines the quality of our meeting of Allah. Some people, when it says that لَتَرْكَبُنَّ طَبَقًا عَنْ طَبَقٍ, it means that you are all moving step by step. But what happens to you, that some people in their movement, they lose their light, because we all have been created with our clean nature, fetrat. We say fetrat, which is our nature. For example, when a baby is born, his or her nature is clean and full of nur. But step by step in life, we may lose this light of our fitrat. We cover our fitrat. For example, every sin we go through, or whatever happens, may covers our fitrat. Or no, if we move according to the way of Allah says, we gain nur, we gain light. So our movement, it depends on how we move, the quality of our movement, but both groups they move stage by stage. I don't know if it's difficult or if it's complicated. I'll explain again. I'll go through it again. If it's clear, just please let me know if it is not clear or it's confusing. I can revise it.
I think it's clear for I think
Is
it's
it
clear. I
clear?
don't know from
Okay. If anybody, if any of ladies, if they think it's confusing, let me know, please. So
Is it step by step means, sister? Or shall we do it in the end then? Maybe you carry on and then we do it in the end, the questions then.
No, just if it's totally confusing, just give me a hint, and then main questions I'll answer at the end of the but write it down so you don't forget your question.
Yeah.
But if it's something that if questions comes to your mind, write it down. But sometimes maybe because of my English or something like that, if it's confusing, let me know.
It's just understanding it, whether step by step means just going from childhood to the old stages, or step by step means something else in the mankind.
So it's mankind. It's not that growing
from then now.
Yeah, you mean that is it? For example, growing from childhood to the age stuff? No. It doesn't mean that. No, because you know why? Because this surah is I told you the main ayat, the key ayat is number 6, which is Allah is saying you are moving without us, and then famulaqi, meeting with Allah. And then from ayat 7 to 15, Allah is describing the quality of our meeting on the day of Qiyamah.
Right.
So all this stage by stage is those stages which defines the quality of our meeting with Rabb. So it's not age-wise. Right. Yeah, it's not age, it's mankind. Yeah. No, good question. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so it's that I don't swear by afterglow of sunset. I don't swear by the night and whatever it gathers in its darkness and it becomes full darkness. And I don't swear by the moon when it is at its full stage. And then Allah is saying that in ayat 19 that لَتَرْكَبُنَّ طَبَقًا عَنْ طَبَقٍ. Another point I'll explain is that ayat 16, 17, 18. If you notice, it has got 4 qasam in it. For example, 1 qasam to shafaq, 1 qasam to layl, 1 qasam to wasaq, and 1 qasam to qamar when it is full. So it has these 3 ayats that they have got 4 qasam. When qasam is emphasizing, it has got emphasis. Then when it comes to ayat number 19, la tarkabunna. If you know Arabic grammar, which I don't want to enter it, la in Arabic is for emphasizing. But when it's Allah is saying la tarkabunna, Allah wants to say definitely. And those nun with shadda at the end of tarkabunna, again, that is another emphasizing. So it has got another 2 emphasizing and just la tarkabunna. So Allah, sorry, Nun Bishatta is 2 emphasizing itself. La is 1 emphasized. So La Tarkabunna has got 3 emphasizing it. And then we had 4 emphasized from ayat 16 to 18, and all together becomes 7 emphasizing. So it looks like that Allah 7 times is emphasizing to tell us that you are moving stage by stage, tabaqan and tabaq. You are definitely moving from stage to stage. If I want to explain the way that it makes more sense, Allah is saying that you will certainly, 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 definitely, 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 definitely. 7 times you repeat this for yourself, or replace it with different words of emphasis. For example, you will certainly, surely, definitely, definitely, certain. 7 times has repeated it, and then says that you will travel from stage to stage. It is like that, which goes back again. Masuma is saying that is asking that does it mean we are moving through the stage? Masuma, yeah, I'll explain about these stages. What does it mean? Allah wants to say that these stages can be like stage of shafaq, which loses light, or layl, night, which gathers darkness, and it can be like moon, which gathers light. So we can, in Farsi we say darajat and darakat. Imagine when we want to go through stairs at the house. Sometimes we go from, for example, down the stairs to up the stairs. Sometimes we come from upstairs to downstairs. So when we go from in life, in this quality of meeting, when our stage is from downstairs to upstairs, it means that we are gaining light. We are gaining degrees, positive degrees. But when we come from upstairs to downstairs, it means that we are going down. We are losing our positive grades, which we say darakat. That is darajat, and this is darakat. I don't know if maybe you have in Urdu as well that darak, for example, when they want to tell something has gone low to low degree, we say darak. But I don't want to bring those different languages in. Maybe it's confusing. So steps, stage by stage, is exactly like the stage by step of shafaq or night, layl, or moon. We can, in our life, which we go through stages, we can gain light according to the way of our life. If we are obeying Allah during life, we are okay. And according to ayats of group 1, if we are noticing our movement, for example, something happens to us as our test. For example, imagine this coronavirus or an illness or whatever you think so. You can use it. You can face it. I can't say use it. You can face it in the way that it gets you higher and higher, stage by stage, closer to Allah or far from Allah. But when we say far from Allah, it doesn't mean that we don't meet Him. No. According to this ayat, that even if we use it or abuse these opportunities or whatever happens to us, we are moving to Allah. We are getting close to Allah. Just the quality of our meeting is different. Okay, any question? Please ask your question. If the question is in the way that I have to stop my explanation and it diverts our explanation, I'll tell you I answered the question at the end of. But if it's helping and understanding the way I explain, I answer it at the same time. So don't worry about asking questions. I think I need to use my charger now. Okay. So what point in tadabbur I want you to notice, because I explained last time that I don't want just to explain as a lecture. I want you to get the technique as well, because these techniques we learn, we can use it in different surahs of Quran. One technique is that wherever Allah in different surahs of Quran makes qasam, swears at something, the content of this qasam, it is related to what he wants to tell us in the following ayats. Like here, which we explained that by swearing Allah by shafaq and light and qamar, Allah wants to say this moving step by step and from stage by stage, and the quality of moving, that we lose light or we gain light, which defines the quality of our meeting. So the main thing, okay, after that, ayat 20. After this, ayat 20, Allah is saying, فَمَا لَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. So what's the matter with them that they don't believe? By all these explanations from ayat 1 to ayat 19, Allah wants to tell us. And these are not something which we just hear it now in this surah. It's something which we can experience it every day in our life. We can see every day what is happening to light, to day, to light, to sun, to moon. And so these are not something new which we are experiencing. We are hearing about it. In fact, we are experiencing it every day in our life, every day and night. Allah wants to say, okay, with all these evidence, what's the matter with them that they don't believe? We can see around us how many people, our last generation, our parents, our grandparents, they were alive and they're not alive now. So what's the matter that they don't believe? فَمَا لَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. It means that. What's the matter? They don't believe. It means that if we don't, the only excuse that we don't believe is that we don't believe in this movement, which we can sense it. If we deny this, our traveling, our movement, okay, then we can say that we don't believe. So who they don't believe, and we can explain to them that you can experience it, that you are moving, you are getting old, you are moving all that through all your life. So what's the matter that you don't believe? Believe to what? Believe to your Rab. Who is Rab? Who has created you? Who is your owner? Who has defined your original point when you come to this life, and who defines when you live this life and start your real life, your destination. So all this, by noticing all this, there is no excuse that we don't believe. And then Allah is saying, what's the matter they don't believe? And then ayat number 21, وَإِذَا قُرِئَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْقُرْآنُ لَا يَسْجُدُونَ. Again, I said that whenever we have wav at the start of ayat, it means and it is related, it's connected to previous ayat. So Allah is saying, what's the matter with them that they don't believe? And when قُرِئَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْقُرْآنُ, when Quran is recited to them, لَا يَسْجُدُونَ, they don't do sajda, they fall not prostrate. Because sajda, what is sajda? Sajda means in a position which you bring yourself down to in front of Allah. Yeah, we say khuzu and khushu. Sajda is that when we are in position of sajda, we are falling, we are putting our forepaw on the earth, that, oh Allah, we are nobody in front of your we say as a mat, for example, your high, I don't know if majesty is good word or something like that. That sajda is the position that we are showing that Allah, we are nobody in front of you. And Allah is saying, okay, when this moving towards Allah is a certain movement, and certain movement stage by stage. So what's the matter with them that when they hear these ayats of Allah, they don't go on their knees, and they don't do sajda, and they fall not prostrate. And ayat number 22, Allah is saying, بَلِ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا يُكَذِّبُونَ. Bal means not only they disbelieve this moving, but also they even deny it. يُكَذِّبُونَ means they deny it, and they say it's lie. Okay, this you can see it. You can see this movement. How you are saying that it's just a lie. And when they say it's a lie, when, for example, if we go back to ayat 6 again, Ya ayyuhal insanu innaka kadihun, when it say, no, we are not moving towards Allah, we are towards our Rabb. It's a lie. So na'uza billah it means that Allah, our Rabb, is liar. So when they say it's lie, it means na'uza billah, Allah is liar. So Allah is saying that wallahu in ayat number 23. Al-Wallahu a'lamu bima yu'un. It's in the way that Allah is the most knowing of what they gather within themselves. Yu'un, the ayah is, yu'un means gathering, with which they gather in during their movements, they are gathering in themselves by the way of their life. They gather darkness or they gather light, as Allah is most knowing of what they gather within themselves, although they don't notice it. So if we say that if we look at what we hear at these ayats, if we look at it and we listen to these ayats fairly, it means with insaf, we say in Farsi. I don't know if you have order, with insaf and fairly we look at this ayat and we listen to this ayat, there is no excuse that we say, oh, we don't believe. So if we disbelieve, and then Allah is ayat number 24, Allah is saying, فَبَشِّرْهُمْ بِعَذَابٍ حَلِيمٍ. And so announce to them a painful punishment. فَبَشِّرْهُمْ, maybe Sister Aram knows the meaning of Bushra because her daughter's name is Bushra, knows the meaning of this better. Bisharat means that an announcement, but announcement for good, for happy things. When we say Bisharat, it is that you announce something to somebody as happiness, not as sadness. For example, when God forbid and somebody dies, they don't say that they don't use Bisharat, because Bisharat is something for when it's sometimes somebody's wedding, they say, oh, Bisharat, because it is a happiness, it's an announcement of happiness. So announce to them a painful punishment. Then there is a question here. Allah is saying a painful punishment, Azab Alim. So why he is using Basharat, which is using for announcing good news? Then there is a point here that they say that Allah wants to tell them that Allah made you in the way and sent you Quran and all the rules in a way that you would deserve Basharat, you would on the day of Qiyamah. If you had listened to Allah and if you had noticed this movement towards Allah.
I think, sister, you have muted your call.
How long was it like that, Sister Rafesha?
I think
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, but only for a few seconds.
Oh, so did you hear me when I explained what Bisharat means? Announcement for happiness?
Yeah. Okay. I have listened to it. Can you
just repeat about? Yeah, if you repeat about like you were discussing about why Allah said Bisharat, because it's for the bad. So if you explain that again, that's the part.
Yeah. Okay. Then. Okay. I explained that Bisharat is using for the announcement for happiness. But here Allah is saying, فَبَشِّرْهُمْ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ, and painful punishment. So when Allah is announcing for a painful punishment, why does he use Bisharat, which is which always it is used for good news, not for bad news? There's 2 points in it. One point is that Allah wants to tell them that if you had if you would notice your movement towards your Rabb, your owner, your Allah, and you had set your life in a way that to gain a good quality of meeting with Allah. It means you had set you're moving in the stage by stage, but in the way that gaining light. Then on the day of Qiyamah, you would deserve a Basharat, which is Jannah. But because you didn't, now you deserve azab shadid. One is that, and one point is that Allah one is why is Allah is using Basharat. They say that because now because these group of people who they didn't notice their movement towards Allah, and stage by stage they gain darkness because they didn't obey Allah. During their life in this world, they made fun of the rules of Allah because they disobeyed it. They made it looks like they made fun of it. And in different ayats of Quran, we have istihza, yastahzi'un, which means that kuffar, they made fun of these rules, and they say, oh, you will never go back, you will never become alive after you're dead, and these are all lies, and this never happens. There is no ma'at, there is no returning back, there is no jannah, there is no all these things. So Allah is, when they come to the day of Qiyamah, Allah is saying, okay, welcome to fire. So there is 2 points like this, which is not really very important points of the surah, but I just explained. Then ayat 25, Allah makes an exception. Illa, remember, always, illa means exception, except. So Allah explained about all those who does فَمَا لَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ, those who they don't believe when the Quran is recited to them, they don't do sajda, and not only they disbelieve, but also they deny as well, and they say it's lie. But Allah is the best, knows best what they gather in themselves, what they hide. فَبَشِّرْهُمْ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. And then Allah on number 20, ayat number 25, make an exception. He says, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَهُمْ أَجْرٌ غَيْرُ مَمْنُونٍ. Except those who believe and do good, عَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَات, and lahum means for them, ajrun, there is a reward, غير ممنون, that shall never be cut off. It is forever. This reward will be forever, because we know that the hereafter life is the real life, and when we go to Jannah is the start of our real life, which we explained that before in Surah Inshiqaq. When I explained that, I just mentioned that Behesht, when we go to Jannah, it's not that day and night we just sit down beside next to rivers and it's so boring. Some people they bring this excuse that so Jannah will be so boring, that if it's just no, it's a real life, which Allah is explaining different ayats of Quran, and inshallah when we go through other surahs we explain them as well. Okay, another one point which we should notice here is that Allah is saying Allazina kafaru in ayat 22, and then we have Allazina amanu in ayat 25. So brings 2 groups, Allazina kafaru and Allazina amanu. Those Allazina kafaru are those who they get their results from their back, وراء ظهرهم, according to previous ayats, and those الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات, those are who they get their results in their right hand. So in one side we have kufr, one side we have iman, amanu, and عملوا الصالحات, and doing good things. So just believe is not enough. That we say, we believe, and then when we look at the way of belief, doesn't prove it that we believe. Okay, we believe, but we don't obey Allah's rule according to Islamic rules, according to different things. So that's not enough, just belief. always amanu and amalu salihat, these two comes together. Now we want to just come to a general conclusion of this surah, that where does it start and which results become to at the end of this surah, what's the result of it. One is saying that in ayat 25 that amal salihat, what is amal salih, what is good things? Of course, it is what Allah is tells us. And okay, maybe this question comes in that, okay, how do we know what is amal salih? Okay, we say that amal salih, it with Allah is the plan and laws and rules which Allah sends to mankind. And again, it has been explained in Surah Qashiyah completely. One thing is good about Tadabbur, that inshallah when we go step by step, every question comes in Tadabbur should be answered by what is in Quran. So we are not allowed that answer questions which comes in with another resources. Because I said the level, the meaning, the tadabbur is the first level of meaning, and I explained that tafsir is something else. But I explained what's the difference between tadabbur and tafsir. We say, who are the main translators of Quran? We said, who are Ahl al-Bayt. So the main translators of Quran are Ahl al-Bayt. So if we want to go through tafsir, no chance except using riwayats of Ahl al-Bayt, which comes in tafsir. And they are so important. But what we are learning in tadabbur is the first level. So if we don't bring riwayats of Ahl al-Bayt, and if we say that every question in tadabbur should be answered by the ayats of Quran, it doesn't mean that, God forbid, and we want to say that we ignore riwayats of Ahl al-Bayt. No, that's the main thing. But now in our course, in this current course, we don't go through it. Because Quran on its own has got all its meanings, but which kinds of meaning? The first level of meanings. And then when we want to understand it completely, we go to riwayat of Ahl al-Bayt. That's why that, for example, when we say, okay, Allah is saying in Quran, Allah has said you have to fast during month of Ramadan, or you should pray. But how do we know that? What's the rules of fasting? What's the rules of praying? What's the rules for homes? All this comes in Islamic law. Where does Islamic law comes? Riwayats of Ahl al-Bayt, the main source. There are 3 different sources for riwayats of Ahl al-Bayt with aql, and one of the most important things is Sunnah. Sunnah means riwayats of Ahl al-Bayt, which that is again another field which needs to be expert in it. I explained again that because riwayats of Ahl al-Bayt, there are loads of riwayats, and because we don't, so we need expert people and valid books to tell us that, because we have lots of riwayats from Ahl al-Sunnah from different resources which are not right. So that needs experts as well, and that's why we have to follow mujtahid. We need taqlid, to follow a marja taqlid. That's why, because we are not expert on those fields. And when we want to enter tafsir, needs to be really expert in different things. But tadabbur, they say, I explained that why tadabbur is coming. Tadabbur wants to tell us that break this wall between you and Quran. Because lots of people, they think that because we don't understand these riwayat, we are not expert on Arabic, we are not expert in riwayat Ahl al-Bayt, we are not expert in philosophy, it's not understanding Quran is not our duty. We just recite it for sawab and that's enough. No, that's not something. Allah doesn't send a book which we don't understand it and say, okay, this is the manual for your life. So in Tadabbur, we want to break this wall, which I don't go through it, because if I enter it again, I have to discuss it 1 hour. So let's come to a conclusion of whole surah. So where did we start that? We start that our movement is a certain movement. Qadihun ila rabbika is a certain movement. Okay, if this movement is a certain movement and surely you are moving, and Allah 7 times he said definitely, surely, certainly, you are moving stage by stage. So if that's the kind, if that's the situation, so what's the matter that we don't believe and we don't do good things? We don't amanu iman, and we don't have amal salih. Amanu, and because at the end, last ayat, Allah made an exception. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. And فَمَا لَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. So what's the matter that they don't believe? And Allah, by those qasams, by those swearings, and by all those qasam, wants to tell us that there is no excuse for disbelievement. There is no excuse for not obeying and not doing sajda when we hear the ayats of Quran, and there is no excuse for denying it, for takzib. So there is no excuse for ayat number 20, 21, and 22, which is فَمَا لَهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. No excuse for that they don't believe, no excuse for they don't la yasjudun, they don't do sajda, and no excuse for they kafaru, they disbelieve it, and yukazzibun, and denying it. And how Allah what does Allah replace these with iman and amal saleh in ayat 25. So Allah is saying that all these disbelievements, not doing sajda, and disbelief and denying it, takzib, all this should be replaced by amanu wa amilu salihat. Otherwise, فَبَشِّرْهُمْ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. If it's not, if they don't replace, these takzib and these la yasjudun and all those, they are not replacing by amanu wa amilu salihat. So وَبَشِّرْهُمْ بِعَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. We announce them to a painful punishment. So Allah wants to first, Allah is saying that, oh, mankind, with no choice and without authority, you are moving towards your Rabb, your Allah. So please believe, amanu, and amalu salah. Believe and do according to rules of Allah. And the only way of doing amal salah, and the only manual or instructions or only thing we can say what is amal saleh is Quran, and no other choice. And we said that for this Surah Qashiyah explains this completely. So we come to the conclusion that how important is to understand Quran in our life. And again, it should be the first priority of our life. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Now I'm ready to answer any question. And something else I said, that you know that I'm studying Tadabbur as well, step by step with you. It's not that I'm an expert in it. So maybe your questions I cannot answer because, as I told you, all the questions should be answered by Quran in this course. So if I don't know the answer of your question, so I write it down and I go back. So you write, send me your question, and I find the answer and come back to you. Now I'm.
Sister Asma wanted to join in. I did send her link. I don't know whether she got in or not because I couldn't see her on the list. So if you can add her afterwards. I think she's not on the list. I did send her the link though, but I don't know whether it didn't work.
You know, sometimes I've got the problem of adding. When I search my contacts, I can't find the contact because I don't know, different
her.
ID. Because maybe she has got another ID. She's not, for example, she hasn't installed Skype by her phone number. Maybe she has used her email or something like that.
Yeah, I couldn't add her. I've checked myself as well.
I'll check it with her and I'll see what's the problem. Inshallah, we will sort it out. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Jazakallah.
No problem.
Which surah, inshallah, we're going to start after this?
Yeah, after Inshiqaq, inshallah. It's about I want you, Buruj is the next surah, but because we go from Inshiqaq to Nas. okay, in order. So the next surah is Buruj.
Okay.
But I don't want to start another surah without you all studying this surah, because now it's just one surah.
Yes.
Okay, and it's easy to study it, to spend time on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But when
I think that's better.
when it becomes
That's
two surah, three surah, then
yeah.
no chance for you, because I know, because we are all busy with family life, and
Yeah.
so that's why I'll write down some questions, which I said exams. It's like this. Don't worry about exams that I want to question you here or not. I write down some questions and send it in the group. Please answer back and send me. Where is the summary? Just it shows that you have understood this. You have studied it and understood. Because because otherwise, if we don't have to, we don't study. It's exactly like me.
Right.
If I don't have to, that's
like
why
I was promising myself that I will listen to the recording again, the Sister Miriam sent, but I couldn't get the chance to listen to it, believe me. And I was blaming myself today that I couldn't get the chance to listen to the recording. So
and if you can, for example, if you can share it between you and between you all, and every time one person write it down or modify it, so we have a English text of it. It will be very good if you can share. I think I'll make Masuma responsible for it, not to do all the everything herself, but because she's good at this thing. She shares it. For example, she asks everybody that who can do, for example, this.
That would be good learning experience for Masuma as well. If she does that, it will help.
No, I don't want her to does it all completely herself. I want she takes control of it. For example, the first lecture was last week. Okay, who gets responsibility of writing it down? And then Masuma can modify the English, correct the English, and all this. So if we can have, after Surah finishes, we have a good text of it in English, because I don't have, my notes are in Farsi. I just explain it in English.
I know,
And then when we go forward, it will not be possible. When it becomes too many surahs, it will not be possible.
That's great. Yeah.
So, Masuma, would you please do this before next Tuesday, please?
Yeah, inshallah, definitely. Yeah.
And any of ladies who wants to leave the group, or who's busy and wants to, please don't leave it and say bye and leave it.
No.
I don't want to waste your time.
We'll be staying, but next week probably I'll try my best. But Mamoon is going for his treatment, so hopefully I'll try my best to come. But maybe because of the commitment I couldn't come. So for next week I'll make the excuse because of that. But otherwise I'll try and stay.
Inshallah, we all pray for him.
Inshallah.
As well. But you can use the recording file as well.
I will definitely use the recording, and probably Masuma will join in and will ask Masuma about what we discussed in the meeting as well.
Okay. So please, ladies, all check your Skype group during the week. So if whenever I send something or there is something discussed, so you will be aware of it, inshallah. When I send questions. Okay. Any question?
Just one thing I wanted to ask is, inshallah, who would like to start off with the notes? If any of you want to start off with making the notes for Surah Inshiqaq in English, and then inshallah I can modify it and post it to the group.
Yeah.
So yeah, whoever wants to take the responsibility of the surah,
in two sections, not the whole surah at once. It can be two of ladies. One take the first section and one take the second section.
Okay, inshallah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can send message in.
I will try and do the first section, inshallah.
First section. Okay, we need one volunteer for the second section,
inshallah. I'm trying to do the second section now.
Oh, okay, that's good. Then thank you, Masuma.
No problem at all. No problem.
Okay. If there is no question,
are you going to put the questions as well during the week, Sister Manush, for the surah, or are we going to go for the tadabbur first? For the written tadabbur first, then.
No. You answer because I want everybody listens as well. Yeah. So we don't wait for the text now. I'll put down the questions. I send it in the group.
Yeah.
That is something else because then we want. I want to.
Please don't announce the results on the group, otherwise it's
No, don't worry. Or everybody gets the complete result. Don't worry. It's not matter of marks or those things. It's just I don't want we just carry on, and then when it becomes 10, 15 surahs, there will be no chance.
It's good. Then we know as well how much we learn from it.
Any language is good. I think even if this time round, if Kwame posts the questions, and if we don't, get them 100% right, if we make mistakes, I think that should be at this point should be irrelevant as long as some knowledge is gained and some perspective has changed. We have gained something.
Yeah, definitely. And if there is any question, please write it down and send it to me, so I'll answer it back. Okay.
Inshallah.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Yes. Send the question in the group. Yeah. No problem. Okay. No problem. Thank you.
Everyone.
Khadafez.